Welcome to Pop Culture Roulette for all your pop culture needs. We're America's podcast. Okay, welcome everybody. We are in the midst of spooky season. We've just hit you up with two episodes about Stephen King, but now we're going to come at you with some urban legends. Some of them pretty spooky, some of them kind of dirty. We'll get there
Hmm,
and we'll have fun with it. But as always, we're joined by Jeremy
Yo.
and Justin.
I can't wait to get dirty.
Well, we're gonna get spooky first. The dirty ones will come last because that's the way I wrote it.
Thanks,
Um,
Jeremy.
All right. Who of you is familiar with James Dean?
oh
Ooh,
yeah.
All right, so James Dean, the actor, he died at a young age, but he had a cursed car. Has either of you ever heard about the cursed car of James Dean?
yep.
It
All
rings a
right.
bell.
He had a Porsche 550 Spider that he called the Little Bastard. Um, he supposedly met with Alec Guinness, the actor who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first Star Wars movie. But supposedly he met with him on September 23rd, 1550, or not 15. Wow, that would be
15.
really 1955.
Sweet Jesus.
And Alec Guinness told him, if you get in that car, you will be dead within a week. James Dean died on September 30th, 1955. So exactly a week after Alec Guinness told him he was going to die.
Was he questioned by the police?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, not in this story, but you would think so.
What
Uh,
did he
Ge-
know?
uh, George Barris, who is a name that you guys are probably familiar with, we've definitely brought up the name George Barris before. He is the one who created the 66 Batmobile. He created a lot of Hollywood legend cars, but he had done a lot of work on the 550 Spider that was called the Little Bastard. And George Barris ended up getting ownership of said car after James Dean died. While they were loading it up, it fell off the trailer and broke a mechanic's leg.
Huh,
Huh. At least
jeez.
it's just a leg. You can recover
Um,
from that.
Now,
Up to a horse.
a lot of this stuff is 100% verified. This actually happened. This is one of the rare legends where, like, we can verify some of these stories actually happened. George Barris sold some parts of the car to a Troy McHenry and a William Eckhart or Eschard. Those two men were racing their car. They put the parts in other cars and they were racing the car. Troy McHenry died when he wrapped his car around a tree. And William Eshrad, however you pronounce that last name, was seriously injured when his car locked up and flipped.
Oh,
Wow.
Um,
don't be racing down the streets, you dopes.
That's true.
I don't know if they were racing down the streets or just racing, but
What did he
anyway,
say?
they
He wrecked his car? What'd you
yeah, he
say?
wrecked his car, wrapped it around a tree, but I don't. It didn't
That sound
say.
okay. What tree's in the middle of a racetrack?
Who knows? This was 1955, so
We're gonna put obstacles in there.
Do you think
um,
the car was bad that they were calling it little bastard?
they nobody none of the places that I was reading about this followed through with why they thought the car was cursed.
They prefer to
Um,
be called Sir Little Bastard.
Sir Little Bastard. Um, Barris sold some tires. Now, this is the one part of the story that wasn't necessarily verified, but Barris sold two of the tires to a random person who was not named in any of the stories, but supposedly both the tires blew out and caused that car to run off the road. Thieves broke into George Barris's shop and tried to steal stuff from the little bastard. One of them severely injured his arm, and the other one was injured doing something else. But both of them were hurt very badly in attempting to steal from them. So Barris went to lock it away. Said, "No, we're not gonna do anything with this car. It's clearly something's wrong with it." Uh, then good old Chips, good old CHP, California Highway Patrol, got involved and said, we want to use this car as a highway safety example of what not to do and how not to drive and what would happen if you do drive like an asshole. Um, the first thing that happened was the garage that the CHP was using caught on fire, and no damage to the car, but the garage was severely damaged by a fire. The second one was it fell off a display and broke a student's hip. The third one was while they were trying to transport it, a truck that was being transported in lost control and the driver fell out of the truck and was crushed by the car. The
These are the
fourth,
ones that are all verified.
these were all verified. Yeah, the
Yeah,
fourth one was it fell off two more transport trucks. At that point, the CHP said, "We're done with this," and banished it.
yeah.
George Barrett
Dig a hole and throw it in.
George Barris took ownership of the car back, and no one has seen or heard from it ever again since at some point in the 60s.
Wow.
There is supposedly a piece of it at the historic auto attraction museum somewhere down in Illinois. So we could go potentially see a piece of the car if we wanted to,
Somewhere in Illinois.
somewhere in Illinois, which might explain why Illinois is cursed because they hose their. But yeah. Now, to be fair, George Barris was also widely known to be a bit of a storyteller and a bit of an embellisher, but a lot of these things were actually verified to have happened.
Crazy.
Was Stephen King inspired by this?
He might have been. But yeah, that is the story of James Dean and the cursed car,
That's
or
cool.
the little bastard.
Sounds like something on Scooby Doo.
There is a hotel in LA called the Knickerbocker.
Whoa.
Like the New York Knickerbockers.
There's also a hotel in Milwaukee called the Knickerbocker, which created some confusion while I was researching this because it thought I was trying to research the Knickerbocker Hotel in Milwaukee when I was trying to research the Knickerbocker Hotel in LA. Um, Bess Houdini, um,
Did it look like
hell,
this?
oh, it's a little bigger,
Oh,
a little bigger, but
Okay.
it was
All
it
right.
was Bess Houdini would hold seances to try to reach Harry on the roof of it for I think she did it about 10 years. Um, in 1938, D.W. Griffith, one of the first directors, one of the big time directors, died in the lobby of a stroke. Marilyn Monroe, Rudolph Valentino apparently haunt the place. Irene Lentz, a costume designer in 62, jumped out a window and killed herself. Um, she supposedly haunts, but apparently it's one of the more haunted places. Um, now, you've got a haunted
I don't
hotel.
remember like the ghost hunters going there. I would remember that
Well,
special.
here's the thing about it. It's no longer a hotel. It is now a senior living facility. Because if you're going to
Hmm.
have one of the most places in LA, why not turn it into a senior living facility?
It's got some like Bubba Hotep stuff written all over it.
Maybe that's where they got the idea of Bubba Hotep.
No one's gonna question the elderly dying.
I mean, let's take a whole bunch of people who are near death and stick them in a super haunted hotel. Now, granted, they all get to hang out with the stars they grew up with, right?
Hell yeah.
You imagine like a ghost coming up and like, ooh, and some old person be like, "What'd you say?" That sounds like a pretty good skit.
Questioning whether or not whether the dementia's kicking in or whether they actually saw something.
Yeah.
Start talking to them
Um,
like they're like a housekeeper. You better not take my quarters again. I need those.
oh, it's just Marilyn Monroe over there again. Now, speaking of Marilyn Monroe, apparently she also haunts the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Apparently, she's just very busy in her
She
afterlife.
gets
She's just
around.
moving from hotel to hotel, haunting it. Um, Montgomery Clift, Carol Lombard also haunt the Roosevelt Hotel, and in the room where the first two Oscar ceremonies took place, an unnamed man in a tux and an unnamed man in a white suit haunt those rooms in particular. And then there's also a child named Caroline that haunts this hotel.
How do they know that her name's Caroline?
That's apparently all they figured out. They don't even know who or why a small child died in a hotel, but But yeah, I do think that's kind of interesting and kind of blows some holes in some theories there that Marilyn Monroe is supposedly haunting two different hotels. Now, granted,
Yeah.
they're in the same town, but still, like,
Well, she's got time. What else is
Yeah,
she doing?
she's odd and even days.
the,
Yeah.
the
She's got a
Hollywood sign,
system.
the Hollywood sign itself is haunted by a ghost. Her name is Peg Entwistle. She did one movie. She jumped off the H on September 18th of 1932. Put a ladder up, climbed up to the top of the H, and killed herself. And apparently still haunts the Hollywood sign today.
Don't
Wow.
different celebrities own different letters?
I don't. They didn't give too much backstory of the.
I think I heard that somewhere that some of them bought different letters and they pay to keep the sign looking.
I mean, I wouldn't surprise me. Kind of like the adopt a freeway. Adopt a letter.
Yeah,
Well, I do know the sign used to say Hollywood Land. And
Hmm.
then at some point they were like, let's just ditch the last four letters and drop it to Hollywood.
hmm. No one wanted to buy those letters.
Apparently. Um, I know when the fires were going through LA last year, there were a lot of people more worried about the Hollywood sign than they should have been, considering like that can be rebuilt.
Yeah, that whole state was on fire.
Let's worry about people's houses. Who cares about the sign? Like, yeah, I know there's some history there, but not that much. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, not enough to worry about lives.
All right. Now on, well, we're gonna stick in the creepy. Let's talk about the Wizard of Oz.
All right.
All
Never
right.
seen it.
You
Get
you've
out of
never
I'm just
here.
you've
kidding.
I was saying, I mean, I know you haven't seen a lot of movies we talk about, but come on now. That's one of those movies they made me watch in school, I think. Now, I have not watched that movie in decades, but I know I've seen it.
It'd be cool to see it at the that Sphere in Vegas if
Yeah,
they're
that would
doing
be
a showing.
cool.
Just
I
to really see anything there would be cool, I guess.
I saw the outside of the Sphere when I was there 2 years ago, and that was pretty cool. Like you saw the face, like looking around and all the various different advertisements that they would put on it. But I
That's got to be
we
real distracting.
Yeah, I mean, I did spend probably more time than I should have staring at it from my hotel room because
Sitting there looking out the window at the sphere.
I mean, you could see it right from my room. It was like right there. I mean, it was cool. I mean, but we didn't have time, and I don't know if they even had anything. Well, I guess they show like some sort of like IMAX style, like Earth documentary movie, like during the day, like just to have something for people to
Just
pay,
to,
like,
just to pay for it.
yeah.
Hmm.
But
I
like it
feel like
would,
my motion sickness would not be good there.
I don't know. How do you handle IMAX movies?
Not great.
Okay, then probably not the best idea in the world. I would like to go see a concert there, but I really just don't want to go back to Vegas.
Hmm.
So, but I would like if, somebody paid me or made it worth my while.
I would do a lot of things if someone paid me.
Or made it worth my while. Yeah.
Or
All
that.
right, well then maybe after we're done recording, we'll talk. But
You don't got money. We know that.
you're right. Okay. Anyway, so while filming and I don't know if it's politically correct to say this word anymore, but this is what they referred to them as in the movie, so
No.
I'm gonna use the word one of the Munchkins in the movie.
Favorite and
Uh,
worst M word you used.
he had professed his love to another cast member. It did not specify which one, but he had professed his love and he was rejected, and he was so heartbroken that he hung himself on the set. And you can see in the one of the on off to see the wizard song when they meet up for the first time, where it's all four of them and they go dancing down the
Yellow.
golden yellow brick road.
Oh,
You can see a shadow in the background swinging in the breeze.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you want me to ruin it for you, or do we just
No.
want to?
Well, I watched the Cursed Films episode about Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
I heard, well, what are you gonna say about it?
It's the shadow of one of the many birds they had on set, an emu or a crane.
Okay. Because I
Um,
had heard they did that later. Is that another rumor? Like I heard it originally it was a M word falling and hanging himself, and then they in a different like one print of that got out, and then like they redid it with the actual bird over the top.
no, I didn't hear. I read a bunch of different websites and they all pretty much said the exact same thing. That was back in the day when Hollywood was still kind of new and inventing how they were making movies. So they had just went over to the LA Zoo and rented some birds for the day, and they weren't exactly the best at like making sure they were kept where they should. And one of the birds was kind of behind, just messing around, and it
Hmm.
was just a shadow. There are a lot of people who say that's just the story they invented to keep, you know, because this was back in the day when you didn't have the ability to like digitally re-edit things in or out.
Yeah.
So, and it would not have been something they could have reset to, shoot the whole thing again like after. So it wasn't like there was a work print or anything. Like once a movie was set back then, it was set. Like it didn't change. Like
Hmm.
there's not a lot of deleted scenes from movies like that because those film scraps either got tossed and burned or reused somewhere later on. So
Oh, no blooper reel coming out.
now very very rarely from the early era movies, especially one of the early color films, they
Dude,
uh they would not have. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those like, did it happen? Did it not happen? None of the little people actors that were on set were ever counted as not being found later on, and there's no death records um, from around the same time that the movie was made for anybody. So, they would have had to cover up just an entire individual existing, let alone dying on set. So it is a little hard to believe that it just happened and they were like they covered it up.
seems
It's
like a
not,
lot of paperwork.
yeah, there's not to say that it didn't happen, but I'm just saying in this particular scenario, it seems that the more plausible answer is there was just a giant bird hanging out in the back messing around.
Interesting.
Is there like a real one of this on YouTube, or is it just people fucking around?
And that's the other thing is that all the people, the ones I found on YouTube where they're like, this is definitive proof. It's like, that looks too clean. That looks too crisp. That looks AI'd. Like, that looks digitally altered. Like, and like, they're like, this is definitive proof. It really was. And you're like, but you clearly digitally altered this one. Like,
Don't you think after all this time, like some of the cast or extras would have come forward
yes, that's the other thing is that
and been
nobody,
like, yeah, it was actually Steve was having a bad day at the office.
right. You would have thought like, because there were hundreds, if not thousands, of extras on that movie. I mean, how many people they dressed up in outfits in the crowd scenes when she landed, and they were like, "Yay, you kill,"
Yeah,
and nobody was like, "Well, you're right, Steve over there, like
yeah,
he tried to talk to Joni, and Joni is having none of it, and so he hung himself."
yeah.
Yeah, there's no death record of a little person having died around the time that the movie was made.
That's a bummer. I'm so sad about that.
Well, here we go. You want to get into some stuff that we can more verify and get into
Yeah.
some reasoning why? The poltergeist cursed.
Oh yeah. It's a
All
good
right.
one.
This was about the original trilogy, the first three movies. I don't know how many poltergeist movies they have made, if they've remade them. I should have done more research into that. I did
They
not.
definitely remade it once, I think. There was
Okay.
like a 2018 or something version.
Okay. Well, this is all about the first three. Dominique Dunn was an actress in the first movie, and shortly after the first movie was done filming, I'm not even sure the movie had actually come out yet, was murdered by a man named John Sweeney.
Hmm.
Um, Heather O'Rourke, the little girl from the first I think the first three movies, at least the first two. I'm not sure. I've don't know if I've ever actually seen any of the Poltergeist movies. She died of a really strange. They had misdiagnosed her with Crohn's, which back then would have been, I think, pretty unheard of in general. Um, but it ended up being she had a congenital stenosis of the intestines. And she, had a, I don't know, it was basically just a bunch of misdiagnosed because like she was such a little girl that they didn't think she would have something like that, and she ended up dying. Either depending on which article I read, it was either during surgery or shortly after surgery from either infection or the surgery going bad. But it was basically just a lot of not necessarily malpractice on the doctor's suit, but like, just a little girl with some injuries or some stuff that little girls don't tend to have.
Hmm.
She passed away in 87. Julian Beck had stomach cancer and died in 85. William Sampson had a heart and lung transplant due to something called scleroderma, but that didn't take, and he died. Because, I'm guessing if you have your heart and your lung transplanted at the same time, that's kind
Not
of hard.
great.
That's kind of hard to come back from.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
Richard Lawson survived a plane crash in 92, but he had moved his seats. Like he had got sat on one of the seats and somebody was like, "Hey, you're the guy from Poltergeist and a bunch of other movies." Moved him up to first class, and had he not moved seats, he would have died.
Wow, it's like Final Destination shit.
Yeah. Lou Perryman, one of the actors, was killed by an axe during a home invasion in 2009.
Oh,
That seems like
oh
a
my
rough way to
God.
go.
And Oliver Robbins um, was almost okay. Oliver Robbins, one of the other kid actors, was almost killed in one of the movies during a mechanical clown malfunction.
Jeez.
Like I guess the clown was choking him, and they're like, "Wow, this kid's really good actor." Until somebody was finally like, "Wait, no, he's not acting. That clown's really trying to kill him." Joe
Wow.
Beth Williams has always claimed that Spielberg used real bones during the
Hmm.
one scene. But it seems that, I mean, now the first four that I mentioned all died within the time frame of the three movies being made, very close to like them all being released. The other ones are just people who were in it who went on to have, terrible deaths or almost deaths. So you've watched more of the curse thing. Is there more to the poltergeist? Like, did they explain where the poltergeist curse came from, or?
A lot of that was they were tracing it back to the bones. That was like what a lot of people were saying. But there is like they had a special effects guy on there, and they said that was like a common practice back for a lot of like films, like a lot of those old like Hammer films and shit. Like I think they just used medical skeletons because it was cheaper.
Right, that's what they said. Is that Spielberg used real bones because it was cheaper to get the real ones than it was to pay for the plastic ones.
And the little girl, she was in the third one, I think partially, but then they used a body double at the end, which like I don't know who was involved with the third, but he said like they just did not even want to finish it, but the studio's like, get back on there and film this shit. So they used a body double and had her back to the camera when they were like carrying her. I don't never saw the third one, but they had her like carrying her away or something, and it was a body double, and everyone was like, this is so fucked up.
Well, that will not be the first time we hear about a studio forcing something to happen.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know if that, as far as origins, I think that was all I really, that's what I gathered was like people were just kept saying it was because of the skeletons, and I don't know if there was anything else involved in that curse.
Yeah. But I mean, the four people dying, well, like of kind of strange, well, I mean, I guess two of them were or three of them were health. One of them was kind of strange, but like, I mean, you're doing three movies in a few years, like, people, especially older people, die.
Yeah.
And then trying to like attribute like somebody being murdered by an axe in a home invasion in 2009 to the poltergeist curse is kind of like stretching it a little bit, right?
Yeah. That's pretty far away from
I
the
mean,
original.
I personally wouldn't want to be murdered by an axe, home invasion or not. But like, like if I did something 30 years ago, And then they're like, well, yep, that's the poltergeist curse. Like, well, hold on now.
Nicholas got murdered by that axe-wielding psychopath because he worked at Gooseberries.
Very scarce.
All right, how about the movie
Silly
The
goose.
Omen?
Okay, yeah,
Also cursed. Now this one gets a little weirder. Three separate planes carrying various different cast members or producers were struck by lightning.
that's crazy.
Now, apparently, I did look it up because I was like, wait, all right, I've never thought of this before, but how many planes get struck by lightning a year? And I think it was like one out of every thousand. So, like, it's not apparently super uncommon for planes to get struck by lightning. I do feel like though three separate planes within the same like couple of week span carrying various different members of all is pretty strange, but again, didn't do the math on that. Um During the production, a plane that was supposed to be carrying Gregory Peck, like the studio had hired a private plane to get him from one place to another, but then at the last minute they're like, "Oh, we don't actually need him on set this day," so he didn't take the plane, but the plane took off. That plane hit a bunch of birds, crashed, and crashed into a car of all things. Um, and the car was carrying the wife and child of the pilot.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
Like the odds of that happening are just astronomical. Um,
That's insane.
During the production of the movie, a producer they filmed a lot of it in England, um, in an era where the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, was doing a lot of stuff. One of the producers and his wife were getting ready to go. Oh, they were staying at one hotel and they weren't there during the day because they were off doing their whatever. And the IRA blew that hotel up. So then they were at a different place and they were going to go to a restaurant. And so him and his wife were on the way to the restaurant. The IRA blew that up. And then the hotel that Richard Donner had stayed in the day after he checked out and the movie was done filming, the IRA blew that hotel up.
Just seems like bad coincidences.
Um, there were some trained dogs on set that were doing, I think they said they were Rottweilers. Apparently, they were normally very well behaved and very well trained and had never really done anything wrong before, but during this particular scene, stopped listening to their owner and severely damaged and or injured the stuntman who was in the supposedly protective outfit. They apparently just almost straight destroyed that. I guess when they were filming a scene in like a drive-through zoo, the baboons went like overly nuts and like apparently they like they said the scene where like the woman in the car was like supposedly frightened was actually frightened because the monkeys were quite over
Quite
uh
aggressive.
yeah. So yeah, that production apparently had a lot of problems.
Yikes.
Did
Do you
you
believe
have
in
you
do you
seen
believe in
any?
curses?
Do I believe in curses? No, but
Justin,
Wisconsin sports are cursed.
yeah,
what's a curse?
I said
Wisconsin sports.
Wisconsin
Oh,
sports.
yeah.
Um,
What does Michael Scott say? I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious.
hmm
um, I don't know.
The
I
dog
mean,
going ape shit, isn't that like everyone says like, oh, the dog was so well trained after a dog goes fucking nuts.
Where are
Like,
you on the spectrum of curses, Jeremy?
eh, I mean, living the life I lived, there might be a curse. I don't know.
I mean, there is something to be said. Like when you look at like the James Dean car, where you're like, how many coincidences can happen for one particular item for before you're just like, okay, maybe there's a curse.
Especially when they're verified.
Right, when you can verify a lot of it. Well,
Yeah,
like, you know, but like, you have to look at like, all right, well, what the math odds on a plane getting struck by lightning? All right, apparently way more common than apparently I thought. So the
Mhm.
likelihood of three planes all being struck by lightning, meaning, all in the same general region, well, weather must have been bad that week, a couple weeks right there, so probably increased the odds. And if planes really get struck as often as they do, it's probably not as weird or as abnormal as you thought, but because you want to subscribe to this theory that something's happening in that era, the IRA blew up a lot of shit. Like they were
Well, I said
all
that was just bad luck,
yeah, that
bad
was just
timing.
that was just a bad time to live in England or in the UK in general because the IRA was all about blowing shit up all over the place. Um, and
Yeah,
you're right, like
with that one, like besides the buildings, restaurants and stuff that they were specifically staying at, how many more buildings were blown up in that time period that they weren't at?
That'd be good to know.
Like
it's
they're not just targeting these buildings.
Maybe they just hated movies.
Could be.
yeah. And I think, because of what The Omen was about, because it was about the Antichrist being born, and like I think people want to subscribe to it because it makes for a cooler story.
Hell yeah.
it makes for a much more fun story to be like, that movie about the Antichrist? Cursed. Everybody who was, that movie about, the hauntings where they came after them, so cursed. Look at all these people. But like I wonder if you took any subset of three movies and started researching like, what happened? Like what happened on the three Austin Power movies? Like how many people died or had something, tragic happen to them in the lifespan of that movie? Like,
Did you just pick a random movie or was
yes.
there like a lot? Oh, okay.
I've never heard of it. I was just thinking of, something that would not have been,
Yeah.
you know, 'cause it wasn't like Austin Powers was known for hauntings or,
Yeah.
Yeah,
particularly
Yeah.
being spooky. Like that's why I picked
Sure.
that one. I've
Yeah.
not heard anything about Austin Powers, but
yeah.
it's so it's hard to say one way or the other. It's just you have to do the math and figure out what is actually, the likelihood of these things to actually happen.
It would
You
be
know.
really cool if it was. Not
I
for the
mean,
people
yeah,
involved
that's
in it,
enough for the
but
people involved, but
for my
speaking
entertainment.
speaking of curses, Brandon and Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah.
Brandon was killed in the terrible onset tragedy of accidentally being shot while making The Crow. And Bruce Lee he died from an allergic reaction to a painkiller causing brain swelling. But people didn't
That's
want
a
to
weird
hear.
one.
It is a weird one, because it's so abnormal. Like most people are not allergic to painkillers, or you would think that people who were in their mid 30s would know by that point that they were allergic to painkillers, but
Right.
you know, I guess in the 60s maybe you didn't know or a new product, I don't know. There is rumor of a family curse, but there seems to be no victims of the curse other than Brandon and Bruce. There's also rumors that the Chinese triad killed Bruce Lee because he would not submit to their wants, and they would not let them control his career. But
That does
and
sound like the most likely outcome. The triad.
but why would the Chinese triad then, like in the early '90s, kill Brandon Lee? Who and that There we go. There's another one where the movie studio was like, "Nope, you're gonna finish." You know,
Yeah.
you know.
I read or I didn't really read it. I listened to it. His daughter wrote a book, Slee's daughter, called Be Like Water. It's pretty damn good. I recommend it. It's not very scary, but it's informative and inspirational.
Well, some of the urban legends we have coming up here are not very scary. We've kind of gotten through the scary. Well, in fact, this next one here might be the last really actual creepy one. So in 1987, a movie called Three Men and a Baby
Oh
came
my
out,
God.
and creepy is being generous. So they were filming in a house, and a boy apparently had died there sometime before, and if you pause at the right moment, you can see the ghost in the background behind the window, and he's right there during the scene. They caught a ghost on camera.
Sure.
Here's the problem with that. They didn't film in a house, they filmed on a sound studio where they had built the sets. And if you pay attention to what that image is behind the curtain, it's just a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson that they had used either earlier in the film or slightly later in the film. Like it's just a bad editing or again, back in the day when they didn't digitally be able to take stuff in and out, or they were like, well, no one will ever see this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the one on there about the recording of Love Roller Coaster?
I do not.
Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, so
The Red Hot Chili Pepper song?
the original, the
Oh, the
Ohio
original. Oh,
Players.
okay.
So this is like all this, a lot of these triggered something in my brain because there was this old Flash video that had a bunch of like Hollywood urban legends and it had like creepy music, but this was one of the ones that was on there. So apparently during the recording session of Love Roller Coaster, you can hear like a woman screaming because like something to do with like she like some glass like shattered at the time that it was happening and like they slowed it down. I mean it does sound like a woman screaming kind of, but like obviously that if that happened they wouldn't have used that take.
Probably not.
I mean I think it's all bullshit, but it was a really great story. I wish I could remember more of like the setup because it was like they had a model and yeah something broke at the time it happened and like she screamed and they were recording, but like it all just kind of doesn't add up. But when you're a kid watching a creepy Flash video, and that's one of the things, like that's awesome. That scared the shit out of me, and I thought it was real. And they play the track and the screaming, and yeah.
All right. All right, we're gonna get into decidedly less creepy and a little bit more silly and or dirty. Teen Wolf, 1985, the Michael J. Fox movie. In the towards the end of the movie, in the basketball scene where Teen Wolf is winning the basketball game, the crowd stands up and cheers. And if you look at one of the scenes with the extra, the guy whips his dick out right there on screen, and they didn't cut it.
Classic.
Yeah. Problem is, if you get the work print of that movie and you spread it out, you realize that it's not a guy, it's a woman.
Oh,
Okay. It's not a guy, it's a woman, and she was wearing incredibly tight pants, and had gotten very uncomfortable sitting on bleachers all day, and had unbuttoned her pants, and when she stood up, had not thought to button her pants back up, so the white was actually just her panties.
That's disappointing.
yeah. I mean, which one of us have button our pants when we sit for too long? I don't even wear pants to half of these recordings.
Information I did not want to know.
That's why I wear this robe
A couple from Disney. The word sex shows up in the sky in Lion King,
in the smoke.
in the stars.
Oh, stars.
It actually just says SFX for special effects, but because TVs back in the day were not super clear or good, you thought it said sex. Not as fun. The Little Mermaid had a dick on the cover of on the VHS cover. Supposedly put there by an angry animator who snuck it in because he was just mad about all the extra work he had to do and wasn't getting paid well enough. The truth is, it wasn't really a dick, it was just a spire. It was kind of dick like, and it was in there because it was just sloppy work, and it was somebody was getting super tired, and they were just like, we had to rush to get it in on a deadline.
Oh, come on. It was a dick.
It probably was a dick, and Disney had to be like, well, we can't pull all those covers. So, um, have you've heard the urban legend about Walt Disney having his head frozen and it's under Disneyland somewhere,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? Um, Apparently, Disney, when they were making the movie Frozen, retitled it from whatever they originally were calling it to the word Frozen, so that when you typed in Disney Frozen into Google, that came up instead of Frozen Head.
See, that one I might believe it's true. That Disney would be like, you know what? Stop this. Let's call this movie Frozen.
a really great length to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could see them doing that just to get people to stop Googling Walt Disney Frozen Head.
people probably still Google it all the time, but
Yeah, they just have to add a couple more
but
words.
that's the thing. Like, if I do Google Walt Disney Frozen head, it's not going to come up with the movie Frozen. Like, I mean, it's not. So it doesn't stop people from searching that urban legend. Like, if I just type in
Yeah,
Disney
you got to
Frozen,
type two more words still.
yeah.
A lot more effort.
Actually, for that
Yeah.
matter, if I just type in Disney Frozen head, like it's one more word. If I just type in Disney Frozen, yeah. But
Oh, Disney Frozen Head.
um, I mean, that thing, I think that urban legend has been definitively busted time and time again.
Eh.
But it's more fun to believe, and it gave us a really good Robot Chicken episode.
Didn't they say that with like John Wayne too, that he's frozen
Oh, there's a lot of people that were apparently frozen, but
to like cure cancer or something?
I mean, you got to remember the era and where these people died. Like the frozen body technology doesn't really exist today. Like there's no way they would have been able to do it back in the 60s or 70s.
Put him
When
on
did
ice. Put him in that tub with ice water. He'll be fine.
let's see, when did Walt Disney die?
1949.
I
Nope.
think it was later than that, but
Yeah, 59.
we'll find out here real quick. Walt
I'm just
Disney.
I'm pulling numbers out of nowhere.
He died in 1966.
Ah, that was my next
The
Hmm.
the
guess.
technology to freeze somebody's head definitely did not exist in 1966.
Not to your knowledge.
I mean, all right, Back to the Future 2. The hoverboards they used were real, but the parents' council fought to keep them out of stores because they were too dangerous. Yeah,
Wow.
that's just not true. Like that's patently
Yeah.
false.
Did they use the alien technology to make hoverboards?
I mean, the fact that it's now 2025 and we still don't have real hoverboards, not something we call hoverboards.
Yeah, I have a hoverboard. I posted my shit on it last time I
Yeah,
used it.
but it's still not an actual hoverboard. Like it's
Uh,
still attached to the ground.
Two wheels and bad decisions.
Also, a urban legend that comes from Back to the Future 2 is that they predicted that Miami would win the World Series in 1997. If you watch the movie, they say nothing about Miami or winning the World Series in 97. It says that the Cubs sweep Miami, presumably in the year that it took place, 2015. And even in 97, the Marlins were known as Florida, not Miami. So the movie didn't predict it. The Cubs, however, did win the World Series in 2016, so 1 year off of when the movie said they would.
Never happened.
Um, Cats has the CGI butthole cut. Apparently, they made the entire movie Cats, and all of the actors, all of the cats in the movie, had buttholes. Because the whole movie is the what is it? The rotos? What do they call that? Rotoscoping? The live, like the live action animated thing, where you have a
Mm.
bunch of actors acting it, but like you animate them to look like whatever. I don't know what you call that particular style of movie, but apparently there's a whole cut of the movie that never got released where there are buttholes visibly on all of the actors. That's just not true. Because
I
first
know if it
off,
would be true.
well, apparently there was
Got that?
some
You got that butthole in it?
there's some weird early animation that had something that vaguely looked butthole like, but it was just more unfinished animation and weird folds. So they had to spend some
Mm.
money to clean it up, but it wasn't actual butthole. Not like that Lego sculpture that we talked about
Oh
couple
yeah,
years ago.
that's definitely yeah. That's
That was definitely a butthole.
yeah.
Yeah, that's genuine butthole.
At least the butthole cut.
Um,
Free the butthole.
this one's more for me and Jeremy. The movie Goldfinger.
Mm.
Um, Shirley Eaton, the Bond girl from that movie, who was completely covered head to toe in gold paint and died in
Hmm.
the movie, died in real life because they used the wrong kind of paint, and it killed her.
I heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is about that is Shirley Eaton is still alive today. Very, very,
Miracle.
very much
Does
alive.
she
I
know
checked.
she's supposed to be dead?
I just checked like maybe an hour and a half ago. Like as of an hour and a half ago on October 19th, 2025, the woman is still alive. And she
One
did
thing I
like 8 movies after Goldfinger. So
I did hear that like for the Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man really had a tough time with that paint.
yes, the original actor
Yeah.
for the Tin Man had to get replaced because the paint that they had used caused a severe allergic reaction. So they had to bring in, I think it was Buddy Epson
Mm.
to finish it, or maybe he was the one that got replaced. But yeah, no, and there was a MythBusters about the whole like gold paint thing, like killing somebody, I don't remember what they ended up proving, but like they said like it was dangerous, but it wouldn't necessarily kill you. But yeah, and it was like it depended on the type of paint you used. But yeah,
Huh.
it was. But yeah,
Um,
I mean that one's really easy to debunk when you're like, yep, that lady's still alive.
Yeah, quick one.
Okay. Two. Okay, okay. We're getting to the end, and now we're to the real dirty ones. The last two, the dirtiest of the dirty.
Oh yeah.
Richard Gere.
Oh my God.
Poor old Richard Gere. Um, has had this enduring legend told about him that is definitively, well, we'll talk about it. It is Richard Gere had to be rushed to the hospital to get a gerbil removed from his asshole, because he had shoved a gerbil up there for some sort of weird sex game.
How did that start?
There are different rumors that it started. Some people attribute it to Sylvester Stallone starting it. Apparently, there is a couple of people who that story had actually been told about before Richard Gere got his name attached to it. Um, so a lot of people contributed it to anti or just like homophobia because
Mm,
even though Richard Gere's not gay, like a lot of people said it was like the original people who were it was told about was like gay behavior. And
hmm
there's never been a single verifiable instance of somebody having a gerbil removed from their rectum. It's a lot of homophobia and a lot of just uh, there's a lot of strange things that get shoved up assholes. But most people,
nope, but gerbils aren't one of them.
gerbils don't seem to be one of them because of the inherent. Um, gerbils have teeth and gerbils
And
have
claws.
claws.
Maybe that's why you
Yeah.
never hear of any cases because they never make it out to tell the tale.
Yeah.
The gerbil
Um,
or the people?
Both.
yeah.
Lemmy
Um,
Winks, that was one.
But
Yep.
yeah, a lot of people have attributed to Sylvester Stallone starting it. A lot of people have just attributed it to at some point Richard Gere was like the Hollywood leading man, and he was all the women wanted him, so guys were kind of jealous, and he wasn't like the big buff like Arnold or Sylvester or Van Damme. Like he was kind of more the pretty boy. Like he wasn't doing the big action movies. He was doing the romantic comedies. So guys were jealous. So they're like, oh well, he does this, and it's like, no, he never
That's
did it.
that one's so crazy because it like really caught fire and stuck.
Right, and like it what's weird about it is that like there was a sportscaster or a newscaster in Philly that had the story being told about him before Richard Gere, and there was like one other person. So like clearly the story existed before Richard Gere, but for some reason, like when it hit him, it stopped and just came stuck. Unlike the next story, which we'll get to in a
It's
second.
like
So,
just like the gerbil in his rectum. Stuck.
but yeah, no, I mean I can't tell you how many times I've heard that gerbil. I mean, I think South Park did a thing on it,
Yeah,
and
Lemmy Winks.
Let me win.
yeah, so yeah, there's a yeah, but I feel like it's pretty safe to say that Richard Gere has probably done a lot of crazy things in his life, but I don't think putting a gerbil up his butt is one of them. A lot of people also attributed it to the fact that he was one of the early activists politically in Hollywood. Like he was one of the guys who kind of came out definitively for like Tibet and some like was very active politically during his career. So a lot of people were like, oh, well, they're out to destroy him because of
What does he
that.
know? He's got a gerbil in his ass.
Exactly. Um,
Yeah.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. A rock star collapses backstage and has to be rushed to the hospital. Um, and they have to get a certain amount of fluid pumped out of their stomach.
Oh yeah.
Whether it be 7 ounces, 1 pint, 1 gallon, 10 gallons, the amount changes, but it's always of cum. Um, the rock star has changed repeatedly over time. Uh, Rod Stewart, David Bowie, Elton John, Mick Jagger, Andy Warhol, not a rock star, but Jeff Beck, John Bon Jovi, Tico Torres, the drummer of Bon Jovi, Jordan Knight of New Kids on the Block, the entire band Bay City Rollers, Alana, Alanis Morissette, Little Kim, Foxy Brown, Britney Spears, Fiona Apple, Madonna. I'm sure there are many others, but those are just the ones I could find.
The
Oh,
entire
man.
Bay City Rollers, they were
Yeah,
all they
yeah,
all needed
they all need the
what
entire
a
they were. I am gonna have some really weird Google algorithms for a while because of
Yeah, you
some of the
are.
search some of
Yeah,
the
what?
searches I did, but I did the math. I asked Google how many shots would
hmm
it take to come up with a gallon? And that is somewhere between
Oh
13
man.
and 14,000.
Oh my God.
There's apparently
Oh,
two to 5 milliliters per shot, depending on age and many other environmental factors. But depending on the gentleman providing the shot, yeah,
I mean, even
Google
if it
said 13 to 14,000 to get a
yeah.
gallon. Now
that's
it wouldn't do
insane.
the math on a pint, but I'm sure we could do the math. It's a pint would be less, but
hmm
why would you have to get your stomach pumped for a pint?
Exactly. Yeah. Why would you need to get it pumped out?
And that was the 7 ounces one as well. Like I could maybe a gallon I could see.
Silly.
Like if you drink a gallon of water, you'd probably need to have your stomach pumped. But if you drank a
Yeah.
gallon of
Yeah.
Is
yeah, exactly. Um, you guys have heard that one before, right?
yes.
Yeah, I mean I remember
Yeah.
back in I'm pretty sure I heard Tiffany and Debbie Gibson as well, now that I think about it. Basically, any female pop star of the late 80s when I was in middle school, like I was, oh, hey, did you hear? So and so, almost died and she had to get rushed to the hospital. Um, I was kind of new to the idea that it was mainly a guy thing first, and it became more of a female thing later. I didn't realize, and Rod Stewart was the one whose name popped up the most.
That
Like
I
apparently his
believe.
name stuck the most, but it hasn't stuck the way Richard Gere got stuck.
Or the dribble.
Yeah, he
But
got
yeah,
dribbles pumped out of his asshole.
poor gerbil. But yeah,
Probably shot back and just oop.
so I don't know how long it would take to receive 13 to 14,000 shots
I
that you wouldn't
feel like in all the event.
in I don't know how long it would take to do such a thing.
How many shots can you do in a minute? I mean, it'd take a it'd take a while to swallow that.
Yeah. Um that's why like especially like the 10 gallon one, like now that I did the math and I was like,
Eighty
let's
pounds.
Did the Mythbusters do that one?
I don't believe the
Okay.
Mythbusters ever touched that one. Um
Too bad.
but yeah, 13
Yeah, what
let's say
like
it's
a gallon of milk or water weighs 8 pounds.
okay.
But 8 pounds of it,
I don't know what a gallon of
your stomach would explode.
yeah, I don't know what a gallon of ejaculate, if we wanted to be medically accurate, would weigh. I mean, I would assume it's
About
gotta
eight
be
pounds.
I gotta assume it's a little more than that because it's a little thicker, right?
Yeah, but then you won't be able to put as much in there because it's thicker. I don't know.
Yeah.
This conversation, I'm glad this is the last topic.
There's a reason why I held it for the last one. Because it wasn't creepy. And I
Didn't
was
want to
like,
blow the load too early.
Wow. Waka waka.
I almost want to say stupid never walks alone and walk away. But yeah,
Uh,
I mean, other than the names I just mentioned, have either of you heard any other names attached to this one?
um, I don't think
No,
so.
I
No,
don't
okay.
think so
Yeah.
A couple
either.
of famous podcasters like Nicholas Pepin and Jeremy Jordan.
Had to be rushed to the hospital. I I don't know. I did not do any sort of research on what the supposed record for the amount. Like I don't even know how long that would take. Like how you would get that lined up. Like you'd have to get 13,000 men lined up.
You just have to save it over. That'd probably be
Oh
years.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about the
Jeremy, start
logistics of what
start
it would take to
starting
actually
next
do
month.
that.
next one.
They just start filling up an empty gallon and see how long it takes you.
Um,
Report back.
yeah, we're not going to talk about
I
that
can't.
anymore.
It would affect too much jizz affects my acid reflux.
You're producing it. You're not intaking it.
Oh, I'm not partaking in it.
No,
Who's
you're filling up the cup.
who's gonna do the test then?
Well, we gotta wait for you to fill it, and then we'll find a
A
willing
volunteer?
participant. Yeah, we'll pay you. I'll throw in a
Ah,
fiver.
oh, okay, $5. That's all we're going to pay.
But I'm
Um,
throwing in. I didn't say we were this podcast.
I don't know if I want to endorse this test, because I don't want to be part of the collection
Too
of
late.
Yeah,
the, but yeah.
Jeremy's doing all the work. He's the one doing the work.
I'm gonna have to call in sick a few days probably in order to accomplish this, or do it at work. Kill two birds with one stone.
That's how you end up on the list.
That is based on where you work. That is exactly how you end up on a list.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, let's be enough of that. Jeremy, do you have any other urban legends that you that I didn't cover that you wanted to talk about or?
Well, there were two more Disney ones that I remembered when you
Okay.
brought. So there was this one's true actually. The nude photo in the Rescuers.
Yes, that one is
Yeah.
true. Yes.
And then there was I don't know if this is true. This you can like see sex spelled out in like the dust during one of the scenes in The Lion King, apparently.
Yes, that is the one that we talked about.
Oh, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know where I was during that.
Oh,
I must
okay.
have been spacing out, looking
Yeah,
something
it
up.
actually says it actually says SFX.
Oh yeah. I remember you
Yeah.
talking about that. Sorry.
I heard, I do remember spending a lot of time one day because they said that in the same movie, no, it was Aladdin, not Lion King, and in the scene where the genie is a little bee or a little bug of some kind, and he's whispering in Aladdin's ear,
Oh yeah.
supposedly you can hear. It says instead of just gibberish because he's a little bee and like you're not supposed to hear, you're supposed to hear all good children take their clothes off or something. All I cannot tell you how many times my friends and I have like rewound and like turned the volume up and rewound and rewound and rewound. We could never hear it. But this was also back in the day of the VHS
Maybe
tapes.
because you
But
weren't good children. You
well,
weren't the target audience.
that is true. Maybe on DVD or on Disney Plus we could find it and try it, but I didn't find any reference to that one on any of my searching. So
Isn't there
yeah.
that whole one too with like Disney? One of the VHS covers is like the outline of a busty woman. I don't
Um,
remember. Like they follow like the noses or something on Lion King, and
oh,
Hmm.
I always
probably.
remember that one too.
I
It's like a
know.
woman in a bikini or a pair of tits.
If you supposedly pause Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the right moment, Jessica Rabbit's when she's falling out of a car, like she's supposed to not be wearing underwear.
Mm.
But I think that one has been proven to not be 100% accurate.
I'll get to the bottom of that one while I'm trying to fill up the gallon container.
But yeah, no, you're right. The rescuers absolutely did have the early animators snuck in a picture from some porn magazine. Like it's in a window, like when they are flying by. And I mean, and the animators who did it, like were kind of laughing at themselves because it was like years, if not decades, before somebody found that one. So I do wonder how many of
Yeah,
those
but it
old
makes you
movies
kind of
have
wonder
something.
how many, things have snuck in there like that.
Yeah. Well, because I mean Disney, like if you watch like Aladdin, like they're like you if there's certain scenes like when they're in the Cave of Wonders or whatever it is, like you can see like a little Mickey statue or little like figurines from like other Disney movies, like in the like just hanging out in the in the pile of riches, or the Pizza Planet car that's supposedly in the background of like every Pixar movie. But
Yeah.
that now we live in the world of DVD and or not even DVD and digital, where we can pause and look at stuff like that.
Hmm.
Or who was it like somebody in the wedding scene of Little Mermaid, like so I can't even remember who like Belle is supposedly like attending the wedding or something like that.
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, I wasn't looking for like true urban legends. I was just looking for like urban legends.
John Ritter's ball sack.
Oh, that was a good one, yeah. And that one is kind of up in the air,
Yeah. Yeah.
like because they can't definitively prove one way or the other whether or not that happened. I will tell you this: on watching Three's Company's episodes, their bra budget was non-existent,
Ah.
or they just kept that studio very cold.
Nice.
Like the early seasons of Friends.
Early season, the entire run of Friends, like,
Yeah. Like,
but yeah. All right. Anybody watch anything this week?
not really. The only things I really did was went to Boo at the Zoo.
Okay.
Don't know if you guys have done that at the Milwaukee
Not
Zoo
not not in a long
Oh yeah, I
time.
did that. Yeah. That's cool.
recently.
I did it like a few years ago.
When I was walking around, I think I was by the Hip Hop Anonymouses. Yeah, they have the wax things. You know where you put your money in and you get the little wax figurine,
Yeah.
which right now criminally overpriced. They're $5 for a little wax mold. But the one by the hip hops had Frankenstein, a bust of Frankenstein.
Oh.
That's cool.
Now, yeah, have they always done that? And I've just never noticed because I usually go every year. Or is this like a new thing?
I've never seen them do it, but again, it has been a decade or more since I've been to the Milwaukee Zoo for Boo at the Zoo.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never seen
we go
that.
every year, and this is the first time I've noticed it.
I plan on going to the zoo in a couple weeks. Hopefully, they don't pull that machine out right away. Maybe I'll drop $5 for a.
By the Hip Hop Anonymouses. It
I
has a
will.
purple Frankenstein bust.
I would spend $5 on that.
Yeah, I didn't do it, and then I got home and I was like, damn it, I should have done it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I drove up to Green Bay and
it
saw
was
Mercy Me in concert on Friday night.
Hmm.
So Jess
and
really
I always
wanted
sent
to.
me a picture of one of my favorite places.
Right. I was like because it was at the Resch Center, so basically in the shadow of Lambeau, and I was like, you know who wants to see that I'm next to Lambeau? Justin.
And what did I send you in return?
Picture of your stock certificate proving that you own Lambeau,
No,
or like one hundred thousandth of Lambeau anyway.
I still own a share. I got stock
Jer
in Walmart and Lambeau Field and the
Jeremy,
Panthers.
you watch anything this week?
Oh, I started rewatching Eli Roth's History of Horror on
Okay.
AMC. That's a pretty good show. Um, I guess nothing really else. I mean, I watched Wrong Turn 2 for something that I'm going to be doing, which is I never watched the Wrong Turn movies, but Wrong Turn 2 is fucking awesome. Like way better than it has any right to be.
Oh, yeah, well, I guess I rewatched Evil Dead 2 for something I'm doing tomorrow night, so. All right, well then I guess with that being said, since I know Jeremy said he had to get going, If you're the Dodgers and you spend more money than the entire league put together for one team, go fuck yourself, and stupid never walks alone.
Comic books have been around for almost a century, and in the last 2 decades, we've finally gotten to see many of these characters brought to life in movies and on TV. On the Moving Panels podcast, we discuss movies and TV shows based on, inspired by, and adapted from the world of comic books. Join me and my guests as we discuss both the good and the bad from Marvel, DC, and even some of the lesser-known comic book companies. Learn what is and isn't from the comics, as well as our nerdy review of the movie or show. New episodes drop every Monday, and you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. So join us for Moving Panels, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to an 80s Flick Flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.